The silence in Milton Keynes is deafening. Inside the Red Bull factory, under cold fluorescent lights, engineers are staring at what might be the biggest mistake in Formula One history, or the most brilliant gamble ever made. Because Red Bull isn't just building a new race car for 2026. They're building their own engine. From scratch. The team that dominated F1 for years, the team that made Max Verstappen world champion, is now betting everything on a power unit they've never built before. And here's the question that keeps everyone awake at night. What happens when the most successful team in modern F1 suddenly becomes a complete beginner? What happens when your star driver is locked in until 2028, but the car might not even finish a lap? If you want to see how this story ends, hit that subscribe button right now. Help us reach 10,000 subscribers and join the 500,000 fans who know the real story behind F1's biggest drama. The first sign of change isn't technical. It's visual. Gone is the flat, lifeless matte finish Red Bull has worn for years. The RB22 now gleams under the lights in a deep, glossy blue that screams aggression. White accents on the nose and engine cover. The Ford badge placed carefully, deliberately, like a promise. This isn't just a paint job. This is a psychological weapon. The team is going back to its 2005 roots, back to when Red Bull was the underdog, the risk-taker, the team that dared to challenge Ferrari and Mercedes. But there's a dark irony here. Back then, they were challengers with nothing to lose. Now, they're defending champions, with everything on the line. Team principal Lauren Makeys didn't sugarcoat it at the launch. He called the 2026 engine project a Mount Everest challenge. He admitted Red Bull will likely be trailing Mercedes and Ferrari at the start of the season. He asked fans, no, he begged fans, to be patient. Because here's what they're actually trying to do. Build a hybrid power unit that splits its power. Are 50-50 between combustion and electric. The old system? 80% engine, 20% electric. The new MGUK motor will produce 350 kilowatts. That's 470 horsepower from the battery alone. The current MGUK? Just 160 horsepower. That's almost 3 times more electric power that needs to be managed, deployed, and recovered on every single lap. Mercedes has been perfecting hybrid engines since 2014. Ferrari has decades of engine-building DNA. Red Bull, they're learning as they go. In the full public glare of Formula One. Don't miss what happens next. Smash that subscribe button and help us hit 10K subscribers so we can keep bringing you the inside story of F1's most dangerous gamble. But the engine is just the beginning. The RB22 itself is a radical departure. Studio images reveal a push-rod front suspension. For years, championship-winning years, Red Bull used a pull-rod system. It was their signature, their secret weapon. The pull-rod allowed clean airflow to the rear, creating downforce that made their cars untouchable. Now, they've thrown it away. The push-rod changes everything. The airflow, the weight distribution, the entire aerodynamic philosophy. This isn't a small adjustment. This is tearing up the rulebook and starting from zero. And then there's the weight battle. The 2026 minimum weight is 768 kilograms, lighter than current cars. But the massive new battery pack? It's heavier than anything they've used before. Every team is struggling to hit the target. Red Bull is using exotic materials, advanced 3D printing, every trick in the engineering handbook to shave off grams. Because every kilogram lost is worth tenths of a second per lap. This is where Ford becomes more than a sponsor. They become a lifeline. Ford engineers are embedded in the Red Bull powertrains facility, bringing decades of electric vehicle expertise. Battery management systems, energy deployment strategies, thermal control. This is the knowledge Red Bull desperately needs. Because the team that masters the electric side wins the championship. It's that simple. Ford's involvement is a massive vote of confidence. But it's also a massive source of pressure. If this partnership fails, it won't just be Red Bull's reputation on the line. It'll be Ford's return to motorsport, a legacy brand betting on a team that's never built an engine before. The sustainable fuel component adds another layer. ExxonMobil is developing 100% sustainable fuel that must deliver maximum power while meeting environmental regulations. This is a chemical arms race. The team that finds the best fuel formula gets a hidden advantage no one will see coming. Stay with us. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss how this engineering war help us reach 10,000 subscribers. And just when Red Bull needs stability most, the floor drops out. Adrian Newey, the legendary designer behind every championship car, is gone. Helmut Marko, the tough advisor who discovered Max Verstappen, has retired. Other key engineers have walked out the door. Years of institutional knowledge gone. The RB22 is the first car in over a decade designed without Newey's direct genius. Instead, Red Bull is trying a committee-based approach. More collaboration, less reliance on one superstar designer. It's a cultural revolution happening at the worst possible time. The good news? Giampiero Lambiase, Max's trusted race engineer, is staying. Their partnership is one of the best in F1. But can one engineer replace an entire generation of expertise? Lauren Makes is rebuilding the team while managing the engine project. Pierre Watch and Paul Monahan are under immense pressure to deliver performance that Newey once guaranteed. They're betting on structure over genius, on teamwork over individual brilliance. It's noble, but in Formula One, noble doesn't win championships. Even Max Verstappen sounds worried. He said publicly that during preseason testing, he expects to spend more time in the garage than on track. That's not confidence. That's a warning. Max remembers 2014, the last time F1's engine rules changed dramatically. Red Bull had a nightmare with their Renault power unit. Unreliability, lack of power, frustration. He's scared history is about to repeat itself. And here's the nuclear option no one wants to talk about. Max's contract runs until 2028, but it's widely believed there are performance clauses. If the car isn't competitive, he could walk. Mercedes has made no secret of their admiration. Imagine Max in silver. Imagine the headlines. Imagine Red Bull without their superstar, their entire identity, their reason for existing in F1. This story gets even crazier. Subscribe now and help us hit 10K subscribers so we can keep uncovering F1's biggest secrets before anyone else. So here's where this gamble could go. Scenario 1. Red Bull and Ford nail it. The engine is fast, reliable, and revolutionary. Max wins championships. Ford becomes an F1 powerhouse. It's a legendary success story written in the history books forever. Scenario 2. Red Bull struggles for 2 seasons. They improve slowly, but Max gets impatient. He leaves for Mercedes in 2027. The empire that Red Bull built crumbles without its emperor. Scenario 3. Complete disaster. The engine is unreliable. The car is slow. Red Bull becomes a midfield team fighting for points, not podiums. Ford pulls out after 1 season, embarrassed. And Formula One's most dominant team of the 2020s becomes a cautionary tale. The next few months will reveal everything. Preseason testing in Bahrain will be the first real test. Will the RB22 complete a full race simulation? Will the Red Bull Ford power unit survive? Or will Max's worst fears come true? Because here's what we know for certain. Red Bull has made the biggest bet in modern F1 history. They've bet on themselves, on Ford, on a completely new technical direction. They've risked their dynasty on an engine they've never built. And in Formula One, there's no second place for empires. You either dominate or you disappear. So tell me, is Red Bull about to write the greatest comeback story in motorsport or the most spectacular collapse? Drop your prediction in the comments. And if you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of fan we want here. Hit subscribe, help us reach 10,000 subscribers, and let's uncover the truth behind F1's biggest gambles together.